Okay, welcome to the CO visit. Thank you all for being here, calling here, my trusty coffee. And
Thank you all.
Jeff, how you doing? Welcome.
Hey, then I have my as we call it in New Mexico, Sonics.
Sonics.
Yeah,
That's like the like drive-in, right? Where you can drive in
Yeah.
and Sonic, or is that a different one?
no, that's the one. You're right.
That's the one? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got, I think, as far as I know, I think they still have some in Minnesota. We had one
Okay.
where I lived one time. So cool. Sonics. That's good. So we got Cindy here. Hey, Cindy. Jay. Faithful Jay, always here. John. Hey, John. How are you doing? Any good guitar playing lately? See, John's pretty active out there playing guitar, so that's cool. So, well, welcome everybody. So, I'm going to do the let's see here, do the traditional opening to the CO visit. So, stick with me just for a second. Okay, well, yeah. So, what's speaking of New Mexico, what's new out there? Anything
Right
exciting?
now, absolutely nothing, and it actually feels pretty good.
That's good. You haven't gotten deported yet? No mistaken identity?
We haven't gotten it. I just got my passport in the mail this week, which is a relief before they shut that down. But
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering if they annex New Mexico, if anybody's going to know.
Oh, there you
'Cause
go.
most
Yeah,
people
probably
don't even know
not.
it's a state.
Yeah, you don't hear too much out of there, so I don't think anybody would really notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the residents wouldn't even really notice. It's like, oh,
You're
we're in
right.
Mexico now. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
no problem. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy times we're living in. Well, so we'll get into our topic here and just give you a quick. I know this, some of these processes right now with the whole process with Cosette, with my daughter. Those of you that have been following that, it's kind of, these legal processes. As you know, anybody that's been involved in them, they're always kind of slow, but such is life. It's better to do it slow and do it right than have problems later on. But I just called. I had a phone call with the lawyer last night, and so he's going to be showing up here where I live between Wednesday or Thursday because he's got a couple of hearings that he's got to be a part of this week, like Monday, Tuesday, and then so either Wednesday or Thursday he's going to be showing up here. So he said he will give me a call when he's near my town, and then I'm going to go pick him up at the station, the bus station. So I've got to sign some paperwork, basically just, hiring him and authorizing him to act on my behalf. And then he's going to come here and see where I live, and he's going to be taking some pictures and things like that, because that'll all go in the legal file for later on when, we're talking about getting custody of Cosette. Then that's something they can present to the judge, and he can show the judge where we live, how we live, that we have our own home here and we live pretty comfortably, and certainly in better conditions than where she is now. And that all is a help. So, and then we're also going to go over to the court here, the courthouse here, where there's the legal file of all the process that happened before, when my ex-wife moved over here and, sued me a bunch of times and all that stuff. So he's going to come over. He's got to look at that to kind of get a feel for, what the deal is and what happened before. He's got to know all of that, in case they throw any curveballs at him. And he'll be able to get copies of that whole file. So that's what we're looking at right now. So yeah, that's the situation. So just remember, everybody, everyone, and I appreciate so much everybody that's been keeping up on the situation. So Estee, hello, welcome. Andrea, welcome also. Butterfly, King of the Dots, how are you doing? Got some coffee there. I hope you got your coffee. The U.S. is undergoing controlled demolition. Yeah, I can see that. The only problem is when you do demolition, if the demolition crew doesn't know what they're doing, they can bring the whole thing down on top of you. It's got to be a controlled demolition, not just hey, let's bust everything down and not have any plan of what the hell they're doing. So, but yeah, I want to thank everybody. Also, all the support, just comments, and people watching videos, and any of the donations coming in. So just remember that on the lives like we're doing today, that we'll be doing every weekend. You have the option. There's the super chats, super thanks on the live streams and on the videos, and you can go on the page, and there's an option for donations through money transfers if anybody wants to help out with that situation. So without further ado, so what I was gonna talk about today, so Donette, thank you very much for following and all your support and encouragement. We really appreciate that. So so that's the situation right now. The lawyer's going to be coming here on Wednesday or Thursday just to touch base with me. I got to sign some paperwork, and then he's going to come over to my house and take some pictures here. Then we're going to go to the courthouse and get the legal file that we have here, so he can get copies of all of that. And then so around either Friday, Saturday, he'll be going back to where Cosette's living now with their mother. They live about 5 hours from here. And then he'll be proceeding with everything that has to happen there. So the actual lawsuit will be filed where my daughter lives. So he's got to come over here. Basically, he's coming over here to compile information and then go back there and continue on with that process. There's a couple different processes with the child protection services over there and all of that. So it's quite a few things going on at the same time. So just cross your fingers and pray. That's all we can do. So CJ, hello, welcome in, welcome. Appreciate everybody being here and watching this and being here with us and going through the situation with me. I appreciate it. So the thing I want to talk about, well, you probably saw with the thumbnail for the live stream, and I also did a little short video, like an audio video, just kind of a humorous thing about the most recent Awake magazine that's online. You can go to jw.org and see it right there. It's right on the main page where they're talking about Prejudice, which I found really interesting. After I got done, I recovered laughing at the cover, looking at that, and just all the different, the myriad of interpretations you can give to that cover, and the people looking at each other, and it's so funny. It was hilarious. We can't lose our sense of humor, people. God forbid. And just the fact that, when you look at narcissistic behavior and you look at gaslighting type behavior, and one of the main things is that people, or whether it's an organization, whether it's a person, they'll present something where they'll talk about kind of in general, like Watchtower is talking about prejudice and discrimination, and they're doing it in such a way where they talk about other people, right? They talk kind of like in the third person, where other people do this. Prejudice can be shown in this way, and this way, and this way, and kind of in a negative light, right? That this is not a good thing. People suffer prejudice in many different forms every single day, and they're doing it in such a way like they're righteous, right? Oh, we don't do this. Like, look at this. This is bad. And especially what just shocks me is how they're so nonchalant about saying that people suffer not only because of their skin color and their ethnic background, but because of religious beliefs, because of things like that, because of sexual identity, sexual preference. And I'm reading that and I'm going, are you guys reading this? They wrote it, and Jehovah's Witnesses, are you reading what that's saying there? Because that's exactly what you do, right? That's what your organization does, and thus you do as well, right? By proxy, basically. You follow that behavior as well. Speaking of showing discrimination and prejudice against people because of religious beliefs, or especially sexual orientation and identity. This is coming from the organization that prohibits any type of the LGBT, the community, any of that type of orientation. This is coming from the organization that will not baptize in public a person that has AIDS. This is, and you're looking at this going, wow, so there's the cognitive dissonance really activates there. And you're looking at this, and also, of course, we can't leave out prejudice and discrimination against people that choose to change their beliefs and leave the organization. Immediately, you are subject to prejudice and discrimination. So like CJ says here, so I can get my screen to work here, but they discriminate against the differently able. I know that for a fact. Of course they do. Absolutely. And that, right within the congregation, even if you're an active witness and you're in the congregation, but if you have, some problems, if you're having economic problems, if you have any type of mental disorder, anything, depression, if you're having problems, you already get kind of pushed to the side, because we all know how that is in the congregation. Every congregation had brothers and sisters like that would be going through tough times or would suffer from different mental disorders. And what would happen? It was kind of like, that brother over there, watch them, stay away from that person, and so it's not just people outside of the organization, it's right in the organization. So it just seemed amazing to me of how they can say that, and yet at the same time they know they are practicing that as well. It's just amazing to me. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
And so here's the funny thing, personally, I really didn't, and everybody has a different experience in the organization. And like with me, I felt I really didn't experience any discrimination. The only way I might have felt it was in foreign language. Like a lot of people were kind of scared of the foreign language people. It was kind of kind of funny to see that some people were cool with it. Others were like, okay, you guys do your thing. We'll just leave you alone. And that was, I mean, you get it. But, as you were explaining things, the LGBT thing, even when I was fully in and fully believing, the way they would present people that may have been gay or whatever, the way some people would present them, even the elders on the stage, was scathing. And even me, even if myself, I'm like, you know what, maybe it's not a right lifestyle. In my mind, I'm like, is it really necessary to say the things you're saying? Right. It's just, those are so in that sense, I'm, as you were talking, I'm like, you know what, that was pretty discriminatory. That was pretty prejudiced, the way you guys were talking about this group of people. Right. I remember one guy, you kind of unlocked a memory. I was a teenager and there was a guy who was very obviously gay. And he fought hard to try to kind of suppress it. But I guess he ended up getting involved with dancing or something. And they gave a marketing talk about him. And the funny thing is, I had no idea. I'm listening to this marketing talk and I have no idea who this is about. I'm like, wow, this is cool. It's obviously a marketing talk. They mention it. Right, but I have no idea what this is. And after the meeting, somebody was like, this was about so-and-so. And then I was like, oh,
who is?
Okay. Now it makes sense. But yeah, and to me, I don't know, in general, for the most part, I didn't have the experience that I've heard others have, except for, I said, foreign language. And then also, and even to me, if you are somebody who thinks that a certain lifestyle might be wrong, and that could be anything. Like me, okay, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Say that that's not right. I should be in a 2-bedroom. how are you like? There's a way to say, okay, you know, maybe what this guy's doing isn't right, as opposed to just saying the most negative, hurtful, cutting things because I'm in a
Right.
1-bedroom apartment, or because my car is blue as opposed to like white. But come on. So yeah,
Yeah.
like some of the things that people would say, I'm like, and some of them were like the kindest people. They were legit people that I liked. But when it came to certain things, I'm like, wow, that was really not necessary to say that.
Right.
So yeah, I see where you were going.
Right. Yeah. And that man, that just holy cow, this we're gonna go off on a tangent here because that just it just brings back so many things. I mean, yeah, I mean with the one of the things that you're mentioning there about how like on certain topics, um the witnesses, if you notice one of the like attitudes that happens is, let's say like on that subject, okay, on you know, alternative, you know, gays, lesbians, all that kind of stuff. And of course, since the Bible mentions that, you know, the men who lie with men and stuff like that, right? They won't inherit God's kingdom. So, okay, so that's the thought that, according to a witness, okay, along with a lot of other people, because they're going to be destroyed if they don't change, they're going to die in Armageddon, then you can just say whatever you want about them. That gives you like green light to just be nasty and talk about that stuff, and like, well, you're gonna die anyway. It's like people who are out of the congregation and things like that. It's just unbelievable, you know. And that's what you find out, like witnesses, like a lot of stuff I went through with my ex-wife's family and stuff like that. A lot of stuff they did that was basically illegal, like with my daughters, the way they took them and out of, you know, they took them out of school, they went back to where they're living now. They didn't tell me, no, but it's like, I'm not a witness anymore. And so they take it upon themselves to do certain things, right? Just because, well, this person's not a witness, we have to protect her, you know, like it's, oh, this is, you know, Satan and stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, you know, it's amazing how people can convince themselves to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, I remember, speaking of marking talks, the notorious marking talks, you know, I think, wow, I remember back like in the congregations, the eye contact and the body language game was really strong in the congregation when there was a marking talk, because all of us, like I was young, you know, back then, like when I was in my congregation, I was in my teens, early 20s, but I had other friends, like really close friends that were a lot older than me, and so maybe they kind of knew something I didn't. And when there'd be a marking talk, and you know, and you'd be making eye contact with different people, like trying to figure out who is this, you know, and you kind of you just knew, right? You just knew, like
Yeah.
they were giving you coordinates with their eyes, like look over there, you know, like that guy, you know. So it's funny because I remember, I think quite a while ago, before I started my channel over again, I had made a video about this, about how basically like the marking talk like spurs, basically it's like institutionalized gossip, you know, in the congregation, because if you don't know who it is, then you're gonna find out, right? I mean, you're gonna
Yeah.
be wanting to know, like, who are they talking about? Because you know, like the talks are pretty straightforward, except they don't say who it is. And so you bet, like after the meeting, there's gonna be a lot of little chats going on in corners of the Kingdom Hall, you know, like you know, nonchalantly, like, yeah, sorry, you know, after the meeting gets done, and then so who are they talking about anyway, you know? And you're gonna find
Yeah.
out. So it's amazing. But yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, so anybody that doesn't know Patty, that's my wife.
Hey.
Hola amor, hola mi amor. So I have to say hi to her so she doesn't get mad. But yeah, that's just you know, it's unbelievable. So on top of this, there's the Serena Williams level of hypocrisy in the organization. Yeah, well, exactly. And how many times have we talked about this? You know, where it's just like, of course, the celebrities. It's such a double talk, you know, it's in double standard, because they're telling you, like regular, you know, run of the mill Jehovah's Witnesses, not to look for that kind of thing, not to look for fame, not to get into that kind of lifestyle. But the people that are already there, that's great. They love that. And so you see Serena Williams out there, doing all this stuff at the Olympics and doing these, I don't know whether commercials or advertisement that she's been involved with lately that I heard about and stuff like that. Her face is on, ads all over and stuff like that. And you're going, wow, that's, but that's always existed though. Okay. That's always existed. There's many, many, many people like that, and not just celebrities per se, but there are, witnesses here and there in different congregations that are well off, that have a good situation, and they have a business, or they're, a president in a company, or they're a doctor, or, stuff like that. And there's definitely a different treatment towards those people when they have money. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're a witness, hey, you want to be in that stratosphere, get out there and, go to college, study, get a good job, and, make something of yourself. And you'll just see they'll kind of turn a blind eye to it. So it just happens.
Yeah. In one place I lived, there was a brother. He was an elder who was a very, very prominent lawyer. Like, he had ads on TV, and like you would see him on TV all the time. Very, very, very well known in the town. Yeah. And it's interesting because I came in as a complete outsider. Like, I moved to this city, and I'm finding out about this guy after the fact. Like, okay, I see him on TV, and then all of a sudden this person's giving parts on the convention, and I'm put two and two together and like, oh, it's the same person. And I knew people that worked in his law firm, and it's funny because there's such stereotypes, but so many situations fit the same mold, where It's like very prominent person, very well known, but the way they're running their business and basically exploiting their friends that work for them, and just kind of how they are as people, like a certain arrogance, like you see it. And the funny thing is with me, like I never really liked the guy. I'm not going to say he's a bad person, but just what he came off to me was like kind of very arrogant, kind of above everybody else. Maybe other people liked him, but because I came as a complete outsider, like I see him and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
But no, he absolutely got special treatment. I think he already had his law practice before he got baptized. I think. Like I said, I came in as an outsider, but if I remember it, it was like that. So it's like he already had he was already established to a certain point, but it's like he was, how do you put it? He was local royalty.
Yeah.
As far as everybody in the area went.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, within the congregation, when you have somebody like that at any, given time, you might have to go to him for help, right? For something legal, and he can help you out, and he can give you a good rate. And so of course they're going to kind of treat him with the red carpet.
Actually, he wasn't the type that would do that.
Oh, really?
he probably charge you extra.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, I guess I've been in Honduras too long. That's a pretty common thing. But yeah, but I mean, when you get that stuff, but and also that like all the like lawyers, because there's lawyers that do a lot of different things, but if they're like trial type lawyers, litigation, they're always pretty arrogant guys. People that have to work in that area, so it seems pretty common.
I mean, I met some good ones, but when they're bad, they're bad. Yeah.
Yeah, John, absolutely. Yeah, Jerry or George Benson. Yeah, he was popular in the 70s. Same thing with oh my goodness, I'm a mental blank now. Larry Graham. He was in the Graham Central Station, Fly in the Family Stone, very famous bass player. And he was in the same congregation, Brooklyn Park congregation in Minnesota, where Prince went as well. And he was, instrumental in kind of working with Prince and getting him, into the organization and all of that. And they kept touring around together and doing albums and stuff like that. I think Larry's passed on now, but yeah, I remember, back in the day when I was still living in Minnesota, when I was a ministerial servant, there were brothers I knew from where I lived that we would play guitar together, and we would, when there was get-togethers in different congregations, sometimes we'd do the music and stuff like that, for play live, and a lot of those brothers that were musicians would try to get public talks down in Brooklyn Park congregation, which way up where I lived is in northern Minnesota. That's not even close to your circuit. So it's not normal for a brother to go all the way down to another circuit to give a public talk unless you get invited for some reason, if you know somebody or, in the body of elders. And so there's kind of there was this network of this underground, like, hey, we want to get a public talk in Larry's congregation so they could go see him and meet him and maybe you'd see Prince too, so there was definitely a little bit of fanboying going on there, among some of the brothers.
Like, for me, that's funny. I don't know how you felt, but I never cared about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I
never even, no.
I mean, some people would go nuts when they found out somebody was like a witness. So I was like, whatever. Like,
yeah, no, I never really batted an eye at it either. Same thing. Yeah. The other thing is, guys, and I'll want to throw this out there too to everybody in the comment section, so you can give your opinion or ask any questions. Feel free to ask a question. We'll highlight it on the screen and then talk about it, so you guys can contribute to the topic here as well. Going along with back to the topic about with the narcissistic behavior and gaslighting and all that. One of the very common things that narcissists turn to and people that practice gaslighting is what's called character assassination, right? So when they know that you're dealing with a certain person, they will go around to other people that are in a potential social group that you're in, and they'll basically tear you down, right? They'll tear down a person, they'll talk negatively about you, and the whole purpose of that is to destroy your credibility, right? So that later on, when you have to deal with this person in any given situation, you're already behind, right? Because now all these people have heard from this other person, they've gotten to them and said bad things about you, and they kind of got this preconception about you. So it's called character assassination, right? And that's a way that these people try to influence how others view you, right? To make you seem less credible. Watchtower also does that, because here's the question I want to throw out there to you guys, and if there's any witnesses watching or PMOs or anything like that, who stands to lose from talking to ex-witnesses or so-called apostates? Who stands to lose from it? I mean, that the governing body has always been very adamant, and there's always talks, up to very recently in the JW broadcasting, there's always some talk on this topic, right? About not listening to strangers, and then they end up talking about apostates, right? And so I ask you, well, what's the fear there, right? Who stands to lose from you talking to somebody outside of the organization? What are they afraid of? Right. So what, and they also with the media, right? Like, don't listen to the news, but they can't really control that, right? They can't control you watching news or what's on social media and stuff like that. But they really go after the apostates, quote unquote apostates, and they practice character assassination because they say that we're mentally diseased, which is a pretty strong term, and that this is we're under the control of Satan, we're demon possessed, and if you talk to those people, you'll be in danger of coming under Satan's control. So that's a real big fear mongering thing there, to put people, put fear into them, like, oh man, those people they're under Satan's control, that's why they're talking the way they're talking against the organization, right? And they say that we're full of hate and we're bitter, we're just bitter and this and that. So character assassination. But what usually ends up happening, though, is that when you hear stuff about somebody and then you actually talk to that person, and then you kind of find out, like, wow, that's not really true, right? You start talking to the person because, first of all, you haven't given the person the chance, right? You've heard from somebody else that's been telling you stuff about somebody and, cutting them down and saying negative things, and he did this and he did that or whatever. But you haven't talked to the person, right? How do you know? So you have to ask yourself that question, guys. Who stands to lose from you talking to somebody who's outside of the organization. If you haven't done it yet, well, then you don't know, right? But there has to be a reason why they're so adamant about talking about, not talking to ex-members, right from the, not even apostates necessarily. That's kind of the last, step, but just people who are either disassociated or disfellowshipped in general. Anybody that's outside of the congregation for any reason, even somebody that, like we talked about the marking talk, somebody that's still in the congregation, sometimes you kind of start shying away from them and not talking to them anymore. And not so that's just something to each one of you to reflect on yourselves, right? Ask yourself the question, who stands to lose from it? And what do I have to lose in looking at this, in looking at a channel of an ex-Jehovah's Witness? You can look at it. You're a free agent. You're a free being, right? You can look at something and, like, Watchtower, the governing body, in the magazines and in the literature in the past, they've always talked about the concept of like a trial, right? Like being on trial and listening to each side, and like with Jehovah and Satan made his challenge to God, and Jehovah has let him play out his scenario and see if it's really true. So it's like, wow. So Jehovah gives the benefit of the doubt, and he's letting the most evil being in the universe, Satan, make his claim. And even not only that, he allowed him to enter right into heaven and challenge God before all of the angelic family, right? And so Jehovah allowed that, but you're not going to allow your members to talk to an ex-member? It's like, wow, well, go ahead, go watch. As I said, you're all free beings. Go watch an XJW channel. Watch several of them. Listen to what they have to say. Is there some ring to truth about it, what you're hearing? Is something they're saying familiar? Does it ring a bell? Does it start to make sense? Well, that's what they're afraid of. The bottom line is that what you're going to hear on XJW sites or by talking to someone outside of the organization will most likely be truth, and will start to lead you down the path of curiosity and maybe finding out what the real truth about this so-called truth is. So, you can't keep people from finding out the truth. It's going to come out sooner or later. And when you tell somebody or a group of people not to do something, what ends up happening? Well, it's basically like telling them to go do it, right? Because if you don't give any other reasons other than just don't do it, okay, be obedient, listen to us, don't talk to those people, they're under Satan's control, but they don't really explain any more than that, then you're basically, some people are going to go find out, right? Because they want to know. Some people are curious, like, why is this so prohibited, right? What are we missing out on here? What are they hiding from us? If you're thinking at all, that's what's going to happen. I don't know, Jeff, your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So with me, kind of one of the things I live by is, and I haven't really come across it since where I live is pretty remote, but the best way I can help wake somebody up is, and I say this a lot, is just to live a normal, boring, ordinary, uneventful life. And the reason I say that is because, and anybody who's listening to this has seen in all the, publications, magazines, books, how they portray people who left as being like just evil and angry and bitter and just like, oh my goodness. Any negative thing you can think of is how people on the outside are portrayed.
Yes.
So, you know what? Here's what I do. This is my life. Right now, I'll tell you, this is Jeff's life. Jeff goes to work. He bakes because I'm a baker. I leave, go home to my cat, and hang out. at home. Like, that's my life. Like, I go to work, I come home, and just let my cat drive me crazy. And
right.
They think about, okay, and if people want to leave, and it's funny because I thought about this even as I was leaving. If somebody wants to go to like raves every night, that's fine. I mean, if that's what you want to do, and some people feel the need to explore that, that's them. Or like go out and party or go out to concerts or whatever. But for the vast majority of us, it's like when we leave, we don't leave because that's what we want to do. Like, geez, that's what I want. It's like we leave because I think a lot of us leave because we realized we were lied to and we were in a high control situation and we realized it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like you said, like with me, like you said, the best example I can give or the best way I can help wake somebody up is show that I'm just a perfectly normal, regular person. And one of the things, Mr. D was saying, that most people in the world are pretty decent.
Oh yeah, let me highlight it again. Yeah.
There were a couple of experiences that I had as I was waking up, like very, very shortly before I just, tore everything down. Involved, we'll say worldly people because everybody knows, but there were very specific circumstances where they reached out and helped me and asked for absolutely nothing in return.
Right.
I moved to where I moved to. There was somebody who opened up their house to me without question, without reservation, said, you need a place to stay. You can stay here for X amount of time until you get situated because you're new here. And, there was somebody, my car blew up in the middle of this place that didn't have cell phone coverage. And I ended up taking it to town to get fixed. And there was a lot of back and forth with that. And there was somebody else kind of in my circle who just helped me. And they didn't ask for anything in return. They didn't say, okay, I do this, you do this for me. They were like, oh, this person needs help. Jeff needs help. Let me just help them. Boom. That's it.
Right.
And there were a couple other situations. And you know what, for me, what was interesting is because all of our lives, if we go to the meetings and hear what we're told that, oh, worldly people have an agenda. Worldly people want something out of you. If somebody worldly does something nice, they're going to want something in return. And there were like 3 or 4 examples, one right after the other, where it was not that. These people were just being nice because they were kind people and see that somebody needed help. And what's interesting is, like you talked about gaslighting or just people kind of, projecting what they're doing onto somebody else. As I see these people and I'm like, well, they're worldly and they're supposed to be people I avoid. They're just being kind. But yet to me, if I'm nice to somebody, like if a witness does something nice to somebody, they're going to try to get a Bible study out of it. If I do something for my neighbor, if my neighbor needs whatever, then maybe I'm supposed to use that to try to get them to take a magazine. So to me, it's like, I looked at what I was experiencing in life, and it's like, who are the ones that are really being unconditional here?
Right.
And who are the ones telling, and what are they saying about the others? So, hey, what's up, Al?
Hi, can you hear me?
Welcome, everybody here. Welcome to the one and only El Reno. What a privilege and an honor. Welcome.
Hi. Wow, I just turned on YouTube and I was like, oh, what? Friends? What?
Yeah. This is the Holy Trinity right here.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
Hi. How are you
doing?
guys?
Oh my God. How are you?
It's been a rough day today, honestly. What's going
on? Hey, it's all you. What's up?
You know what? Usually I'm like so open and like anything goes, but today, like I can't even tell you what's going on because it's that shitty. It's that shitty
man.
today.
Well, we can talk in private later on.
But I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
Well, I'll let you know at any rate, and that's fine. No worries at all. Anything that you want to or not want to talk about, don't feel pressured at all. We're just kind of talking about basically like how the organization uses different tactics that typically narcissistic people tend to do, like character assassination. They'll go
Oh
around and talk
God.
about a person, and they'll break you down. So then when you go and you need to talk about something, they already have this conception about you, like someone talked negatively about you. And so they do that with how they're so adamant about people outside of the organization, whether you're just disfellowship, disassociated, or of course the extreme is apostates. Don't talk to them. They're under Satan's control. But it's like, okay, well, who stands to lose from a witness talking to somebody? Because they're so adamant about that, yet they don't give any reasons. They just say, don't do it.
Just
be
don't
obedient.
do it.
Right. Because, they're going to lead you away, and and it's like, well, yeah, maybe they will. But it's like, each person is free. They can make their own decisions. And so if a active witness goes to a apostate channel, let's say, for example, and what's the worst that can happen? Well, you might find out nothing. Maybe you don't agree with it, but maybe something they say might ring a bell.
Yeah.
It might seem familiar, and it might lead you to look into something else, and that might lead to, that's what they're afraid of at the end, right? They know that you might just find the truth by actually talking to somebody,
Yeah, and I think maybe you guys were saying this earlier, but it's kind of like your own truth, right? Isn't that what you were saying?
Right.
Yeah, like finding your own truth, like something that really resonates with you. Because, man, what a journey it's been for me. Today I actually did pass by a few witnesses today, and their cute little carts.
The cart witnessing, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So did you go?
I saw them on my job too.
Huh?
Did you go crash them, or what happened?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm putting on my makeup. I sat down to put on my makeup. I listened to YouTube, and then I saw you guys here, so here I am. But what happened is I saw him and I thought I was not in the right headspace for this today.
Oh my goodness.
and I had such terrible thoughts as I was going by, because I really wanted to scream, you're in a cult.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, look up Norway, you dummies.
Yeah. You were just ready to go into battle, huh?
This is what I'm thinking in my head, and I'm like, okay, just walk by, just be quiet, don't say anything. Today is not the day, because I don't want to spread anything but love, and that I was not having such loving thoughts today as I saw them, but yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, and you know what? It was funny. I can't remember who. Somebody on one of my last videos, somebody made a comment about. I can't remember who it was. If somebody here did, please let me know if it was you. I can't remember who it was, but it just was like, wow! It really surprised me that they said that they asked. Oh, I think it was somebody from Australia. It wasn't
Justin,
but it was somebody else. I think it was a lady, but she said that she had mentioned
Saunders.
Maybe she had mentioned something to one of her elders, and he was like, "Oh, that's Norway. As long as it's not here, I don't care."
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Which means number one, they know about Norway, and number two, it's like, well, I told her, I said the next thing you should have said was, "Dude, hello, the Australian Royal Commission. It is here. It is happening here, and way more than Norway." Right?
Yeah,
there's over 1,000 cases that have been covered up in Australia. So it's like, yeah, I totally agree with that, Elder. Absolutely. Let's not talk about Norway. Let's talk about Australia right here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we've got plenty of it going on, but it's amazing to me how before like a topic like CSA, right? I don't want YouTube to get on our case here, but but with a topic as sensitive as that is and horrible as that is, how they can just brush it off like that, right?
Oh,
While that's happening there, that's their problem. No, it's all of your problem. It's the same organization, right?
I mean, it's a worldwide organization. That's what they pride themselves on, is that they're all united. So
it's not like Norway or Australia, they just operate independently and they don't have, no, it's all the same. The headquarters runs everything.
Yeah.
Right. And then they coordinate with their branch offices. The branch offices, whoever the branch coordinator is, they get their orders from New York. Okay. Everything comes from the governing body. So you can't claim like, oh, that's happening in Norway. That's not us. Well, hello. Yes, it is.
Well,
it is you.
I think it's a great way for people to not have any accountability. It's a way to be really like, I don't know. I don't know if it's this victim mentality, but it kind of reminds me of that, right? Like, oh, well, you know, it's like, no, there would be no introspection because it's just very outside of you. And, you know, I don't know if that even makes sense, but
yes, it does.
yeah, then it's like, oh, it's somebody else's problem. It's Norway's problem. It's their, you know, and it's like, no, actually, it's like it's right here at home because orders from headquarters, and that's in New York. That's the worldwide organization.
Exactly. Which makes it your problem, right? Because it's your organization that's doing this. So Mr. D said, speaking to you, Elle, it's so hard not to scream some days, Elle. I feel that it's been 30 years for me, and the struggle is still real. Yeah.
Today was like not the day. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna walk by. But you know what I did? I noticed myself when I was walking, I didn't just walk by them. Like I really veered off the path. I kind of like, I took it was almost like if I got too close, I was gonna get contaminated. It was weird.
You felt the energy field.
Yeah, I had to like keep myself like far away. It was weird, you know? And I kind of glanced over because I thought, oh, maybe some of these people will be from my old congregation, you know? But they weren't, so I don't know who they were, but
see, what's interesting for me is where I work, they literally, and I kid you not, are right by the front door of my job. But like where they have the cart. But I go through the side door. But that being said, that there's a window I can look out of from my workspace, and I can see them walking up to the where they set up. And you know, every time I see the carts, or every time I see them, I feel sad.
I know.
It is like, I'm not angry. I'm not. It's sad.
Yeah.
And I can't quite entirely figure out why. I think I have a few ideas inside what it might be, but entirely I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I think part of it to me is, you know, when we were going door to door, going door to door, it felt like you were more doing something. And now like it's just so mindless now.
I know.
It's literally, it's like they're just, so I can relate to the idea of going through the motions, but now it's like an order of magnitude greater. But then also there's like this just, you know, they think that and we felt the same way too. We felt like maybe we were doing a good work. Maybe we were helping people, but really like, you're not doing the help you think you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're not doing the good for yourself that you feel you're doing either. So when I see that, it's just like it makes me sad when I see them. And I see them all the time. I live in a small town, and like the one place they go is exactly where I work.
Yeah. That's the central, it's where everybody goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did feel that today as I left, because I kind of had that like, I wanted to like shout it out, and then I kind of veered off, and then I was thinking the same thing, like they're victims too, like these poor people, you know. So I don't know, I guess lots of different emotions about that, because we were one of them at one time. Did you guys ever do the carts?
No.
That wasn't even well, back when I was a witness, that wasn't even a thing yet. That didn't exist yet, but it what did exist was the informal witnessing, where you could go to public places and they would stand like in a bus station but that was like a very specific, you had to apply to do it, and you know, it had to be like, you had to be a pioneer already to do that. It wasn't just a regular publisher couldn't do that, you know, and it was a very controlled thing, because they didn't look on that very well. Like, yes, you can do it once in a while for certain things, special things, but that wasn't really like witnessing, you know? So now I look at like the carts and it's like, wow, who came up with this? You know, just sitting there next to a cart, pointing them to, oh, just go to jw.org and you're on your phone. You would have gotten, man, if an elder or worse, if a CO would have seen you doing something like that back in the day, just like standing up. In fact, I know that from personal experience, like sometimes in the preaching work, happened more. I don't remember if it ever happened in Minnesota, but down here in Honduras, yes, because when you go to a territory to preach in, depending on how close it is to the Kingdom Hall, you might have to get in a car, or one of the brothers would have a car, like, or a pickup. We'd like all get in the box and he would drive to the territory, and then you'd all get out, like this big mob would all get off this truck and you'd start fanning out through this neighborhood, or you just walk on foot to the neighborhood if it was closer to the Kingdom Hall. But anyway, so you go by 2 and 2, and then you're walking around like this zigzag shape around these blocks, around each block. And if you get to a certain point and you have to wait for some of the other brothers and sisters to kind of catch up, like if y'all were kind of far ahead, let's wait for, so you'd stay on the corner and you'd start talking with your partner, and then the next group would come and then you would start talking. And if the CO was there at that time, man, we would get like big time scolded. Like if he saw groups of people on the corners talking, you know, and it's like, come on, move. You can't be, people are watching us. Yeah. And now it's like, that's what you're supposed to do. It's like, it's so foreign to me. Yeah. Like looking at just standing there all day and you don't engage anybody. It's like, why not just put a card out there, chain it to something and just leave it there? And let people take, I don't think people would even steal the stuff. Here, I'll tell you what would happen here. They would steal the cart because it's probably metallic, but they would leave the books and all of that, you know, and the chain and everything else, but they wouldn't take the books, you know.
That's so funny.
But but what you were saying, you know, there's something that you said about introspecting. There was somebody mentioned on another witness, an ex-witness on a channel, said something about, he was talking about narcissists.
Yeah.
And how it's pretty much impossible for someone, I mean, truly, if you're truly a narcissist, you can't change, because in order to change, you have to be able to introspect.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be able to look at yourself and go, what am I doing? What's going on with me? What am I doing wrong? But in order to be able to do that, like, you have to be able to look at yourself, and a narcissist can't introspect about themselves. They're not capable of stopping and analyzing themselves and really reflecting upon themselves, right? You have to be able to introspect in order to introspect, right? I mean, so that's like, I thought I saw someone the other day, there was like a quote I saw on Facebook or something where it said, okay, here's the narcissist test. And it was just like, okay, I want you to think about, we're going to think about yourself for a second. Okay. And it's like, okay, did you get past that step? If you did, congratulations, you're not a narcissist. Right? Because it was like the first step was look into yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like that. But what we were talking about, because I don't think you caught at the very beginning, how we were talking about this latest Awake magazine on jw.org is about prejudice and discrimination, right?
Uh-huh.
And it just seemed to me so fascinating, like how they're talking about, and they mentioned they're like, it's not just because of people, like, but because of your race or your skin color. It's also because of sexual orientation and it's about religious beliefs.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here going, do they realize what they're writing here? Like, no. That's what you do.
They're so
that's
out of touch.
Yeah, they're so out of touch. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
But yeah, it's amazing how they can talk about that and make themselves seem like somehow they're on this righteous, like, moral high ground.
Well, yeah.
And yet it's like this is coming from the organization that, you know, basically you know, gays and everything else, they're going to die in Armageddon, and, you know, and yet they're saying that, you know, prejudice is bad and people suffer prejudice because of their sexual, yes, just like witnesses, right? They suffer that. But Yeah. It's amazing.
Now with this new presidency and the way that he is kind of dealing with those sort of things, that's waking people up, you know? Like that has actually, like, clients have come to me with that for coaching on that specifically.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, where it's like, wow, I mean, where can you go that you can just be accepted for who you are? Like,
right.
you know? Wow.
And just in case anybody that's here, let me know in the comments, guys. Let me know in the comments, anybody here, just in case, because it's the first time that Elle has graced us with their presence here, and hopefully
hi.
not the last time. Elle Reno
Hello.
has her own channel. You can look her up on YouTube under Elle Reno Coaching. And she's also a life coach and an XJW, and talks about all kinds of stuff in a very positive note. So as kind of I guess a little bit of relief from what you typically get on my channel. If you want a little bit more positivity and how to work on yourself and build yourself up, go check her out. Go support her channel as well. Yeah, and same way that you have with me, which I appreciate. So, I was just saying, Elle, at the very beginning, just to bring you up to speed as well, with what's happening with the whole Cosette situation.
Okay.
So between Wednesday or Thursday, I just talked to my lawyer last night on the phone.
Nice.
And so he lives in the city where Cosette is, because that's where the lawsuit has to take place.
Okay.
And so that's like 5 hours away. So he's going to travel over here to where I live on Wednesday or Thursday. I'm going to go pick him up, and then so I have to sign some paperwork to for the contract and to authorize him to and all of that. And then he's going to take some photos here of my house, and then we're going to go to the courthouse because he has to get the legal file that's here so he can get copies of that, so he knows everything that happened here, in case they like throw any curveballs at him in the actual hearing later on. He's prepared for everything. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So once he gets all of that, then he's going to go back to that city and then continue with the process. So the big thing will just be whenever we actually get a court hearing. That's gonna be basically once Cosette's mother gets wind of this, and once she gets a summons to the court, shit's gonna hit the fan.
Yeah, I hope so.
Shit's gonna hit the fan, and it's gonna be
you're gonna be
it's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be pretty. This is not gonna be a pretty situation because when basically her motivation is, the reason why she's fought so much to keep her is because money. It means money. She gets child support for Cosette, and so she knows that she's gonna lose that if she loses Cosette, and that's why she's gonna fight tooth and nail to keep her. But hopefully, go ahead.
Would she lose it in 2 years anyway?
No.
Oh, okay.
The way that unless Cosette like wanted to emancipate herself, but that's a pretty hard process. But under Honduran law, it's really weird. The law is really weird. There's they've got something where when a kid turns 18, you're as a parent, as a father in my case, if she continues going to school. So like if Cosette, she's on her last year of high school right now. So when she graduates, if she continues on to college and under her mother's custody, then I would have to continue helping her.
Okay.
With child support and things like that, unless she doesn't. And if I can prove that, like, hey, she's not going to school like my older daughter, then I don't have to. But they're not technically an independent adult until 21.
Oh, okay.
So when a person gets to 18, they're called a minor adult, which is just crazy. That makes no sense, but that's what they call them here, a minor adult. And then when you're 21, you're an adult. So yeah, it's a pretty crazy thing. But no, she would still have the custody. The only way to get out from under that, it happens automatically when she turns 21, but right now it has to be through a judge's order to change the custody over to me. So yeah, it's that's what's going on right now. But just everybody pray about it and keep your fingers crossed, and that it's all. But this time And I feel a lot more confident this time around because this lawyer is much more experienced and capable. He specializes in family cases. And so that's what's going on. So let's see here. All right, Justin wants to come on to the show. So, all right.
Oh, hey,
just give me a second. Just give me a second, Justin, and let me post the link. And you're more than welcome to join us. There it is. I think it's there. Is it? There it is. Okay. Yeah, it's at the bottom of the screen there. So come on in. Join us. So yeah, that's what's going on now. So yeah, I can imagine apart from all the XJW stuff, normal people are probably having a lot of anxiety and issues with all the stuff that's going on with these programs that the current administration is canceling, and kind of just. And you know what? The funny thing is that you can see how a lot of this is kind of provoked behind the scenes by Elon Musk, because he has a son that he disowned that's transgender. I don't know if you guys know about that. So it's basically like a Hitler thing.
Wow.
Because he's got all this animosity and hate towards his son that became a woman, right? And he basically cut him off. He disowned him. He took away his inheritance and all of that, said, you're on your own. And so now that, of course, Elon's in the government and he's got all this power now, he's taking it out on all of the people, and that's a very destructive thing, because, a normal everyday person wouldn't be able to do that.
Mm-mm.
But just kind of like Hitler, the same thing with Hitler, how he had all this animosity towards the Jewish people when his family was Jewish. He had Jewish descendancy, but what happened? Once he got into this position of power, now he had a way to do something about it. And that's what Elon is doing now. And to me, that's very dangerous. That's a very dangerous thing.
Oh, yeah.
But it's sad but the funny thing is, what I love about that story, guys, I don't know if any of you have looked into it. The one thing you can disown somebody, you can take away their inheritance, you can whatever, legally, but that's still his kid. He's got his DNA, he's got his intelligence.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing is that son of his, or daughter now, I guess, she's doing very well for herself.
Wow. Good.
As far as, economically and a job and everything. And she's pulling her own, which to me is like the biggest middle finger up to Elon, being like, hey, look at your kid. And you know what? She'll probably end up thanking him. Like, that was the best thing you ever did to me.
Wow.
Because look at me now. I'm out there now. I'm making it on my own, because you know what? Up here, she's got that same intelligence of her father, whether he likes it or not, So I think Justin's here. Let me see if I can get him in. So hold on just a second. Good day, Justin.
G'day.
Hi.
How you going? G'day, Colin. G'day, Jeff. G'day, Ellie. How's it all going?
Good. How's the apostate cat?
Good. Yeah, this morning, Nikki's going to the Kingdom Hall, and she's going to learn they're doing part witnessing practice.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Wow. So
sorry,
Nikki's going to be a part witness.
How do you practice that? Does she just stand there?
Yeah.
She's going to get picked up. She's going to get picked up. Well, she'll be taken she's getting picked up by a sister.
Uh-huh.
And driven to the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah,
taken to the Kingdom Hall, and then they're going to do part witnessing practice, because she's never done it before. Because with Nikki,
what do you stand next to a mannequin?
yeah, so she can sit on her phone and play Candy Crush.
Okay.
Yeah. As people want. And she said she's going to wave to me and blow kisses at me when I do window cleaning.
My goodness.
Yeah. Anybody doesn't know, this is the one that's on the screen here right now, the comment, that's my wife. That's Patty.
Oh,
okay.
Hey, Patty.
G'day, Patty.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to see that
Hey,
training.
Patty.
That would be okay. So here we are
Lovely
on the
to see
site.
you,
So
Patty.
basically, stand here. Okay, that's it.
Oh, a pasta cat.
Hey, kitty,
Hey,
kitty cat. What's his name?
That's Tommy.
Tommy.
I mean,
He's a Devon Rex. Tommy the Devon Rex.
Pretty cat. Yeah.
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 And
Has he
Nikki's very
hunted?
best friend, Nicole's very best friend, a Jehovah's Witness sister, who chaperones Nikki and I, she sells them for $2,000 each.
Oh,
Wow.
And she gave 27 years ago, and she gave it to us for free. For free.
Wow. Wow.
And
Nice.
Tommy the cat ate packaging ribbon, had it down his throat, and I pulled it out of his throat,
Wow.
and it got into his intestine.
Mm.
Took him to the vet, and the vet wanted over $2,000, and we couldn't afford it. So Sister Carla, who was my very best friend, she paid for it.
wow.
She paid for it because I'm just doing window cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he survived and he's okay.
He's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's nice.
and I hope it goes well for Cosette. I hope Cosette comes
Thank you.
and visits you and stays with you.
Yeah.
Colin.
She was here just in the past November in 2024.
Yeah, you saw it.
Just a couple of months ago. Yeah, she was just here, and then I found out. Well, I didn't find out until just a couple of weeks ago what happened to her in December. You know, when she tried to do what she did. You know, tried to take her own life. I had no idea until finally, just one day, she was texting me and said, "I need to talk to you about something," and then just laid it all on me, and I was just like, "Oh my!" Just literally, my life changed from that moment on. You know.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and suicide affects me a lot because my father suicided when he was 38, and my sister suicided when she was 36, and they succeeded.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that's what is scary, you know, because like I've talked about before, when people attempt suicide, generally, statistically, they do it more than once.
Yes. Yeah.
And the next time, you know, she might be successful, and that's what I'm terrified about and want to avoid having any other you know, situations. And I know for you that's a very you know, and Elle as
and my
well.
sister was 16. My sister was 16 in 1975. You were born, Ellie, 1975.
Yeah.
And she took 40 aspirins.
Wow.
But she was an atheist, like my family, agnostic atheist. But she was an atheist, but she tried to kill herself when she was 16.
Wow.
When she was 17, she threw herself out on the road once when she was 17. Police came and they had to take her away to the hospital. And then when she was 25, she slashed her wrist and tried to electrocute herself.
Wow.
When she was 25 in 1984.
Wow.
And then when she was 36, she took a lethal injection of Nembutal, a vet's drug. They put horses to sleep with it.
Yeah. So she finally
and
was
succeeded.
Yeah. 3 attempts and then one.
Yeah.
And
she was an atheist. Like she was never religious, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys. This is really bad timing on my part, but I have to go.
Okay, Elle. Thank you for being
fine.
here.
Oh, sorry. I love your channel, and Ellie.
I love you.
You and Colin and Jeff. When are you going to get a YouTube channel, Jeff? We've got to get Jeff.
Certain things have to line up, but I'll do it at some point.
He'd be so good at that. I didn't know that was you, Jeff, because I've never seen you before. Hi, Jeff.
Oh yeah, it's me. Hey,
it dawned on me a couple minutes in. I was like, oh yeah, of course, that's his voice. I'm like, why does this voice sound so familiar?
Yeah, it'd be good to see Jeff on a YouTube channel. You'd be good, Jeff.
So good. He'd be amazing. He has a lot of cool things to talk about. Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, have you been fully shunned, Jeff, or you just...
Fade, I've disappeared. They haven't seen me on YouTube yet.
Oh, that's the best way. Yeah. Maybe don't have a YouTube channel. Maybe that's...
Well, I don't mind, but certain things have to happen first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen when it has to happen.
Yeah.
Just one of those things.
Yeah. I just stuck downstairs. The witnesses are picking Nikki up now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll get our best. Get our.
Oh, I'll leave you to it. Yeah. But no. But no, I hope it goes well. I'd like to give you a little. I'd like to help you out too, Colin, but it's just window cleaning and,
Don't worry about that at all, Justin. I appreciate.
Nikki does all our finances. Like Nikki does all our computer. She pays the rent on the computer. She does everything.
Yeah. No, just the words of encouragement, watching videos, that's helping.
Yeah.
All those things help. All those things help, and everybody has different circumstances, and I understand that, and I appreciate all of you guys. So absolutely.
And isn't Ellie's channel good? How good is Ellie's channel?
Very good.
How good's Ellie's channel? I really like Ellie's channel.
Thank you, John. Yeah, and that's another Elle's style and her expertise, and we need that. Everybody has something different, and we need those different things for and there's people out there that, for example, in the case of Elle, that she gives coaching and she's a therapist, and people can also take advantage of that if they need to. She's a therapist, and there's a lot of people out there that can take advantage of Elle Reno's channel, and also privately they can contract her if they want therapy or anything else, because she specializes in witnesses or ex-witnesses, and she can help people work through their traumas and problems and those things. So it's a great thing. And wow, I was just so surprised about how fast her channel grew, and that's
really good
on YouTube. So but that's a great thing, and I'm happy for her. That's great.
I look like one of the governing body members. Oh, wrinkled guy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I'll be 64 in April.
Wow, coming up here.
Yeah, 64. 64.
Yeah. So you have a birthday. We'll have to have a birthday. What day is that? I don't have my calendar here.
21st of April.
21st.
21st of April, 961. And Colin, you're the 11th of Colin, you're the 10th of December, 1981.
That's correct. Yep. That is correct. Yeah, I'll be what will I be? 44.
44.
Yeah.
44. Part of the 144,000.
Yeah, look at that. How about that? It's a lucky number. What day, Justin, what day is the 21st of April?
Oh, 21st of April is going to be a Monday.
A Monday. Okay. Well, maybe the Saturday or Sunday right before that, we'll have a special live stream for a birthday episode.
Oh, I'll be 32 for the second time round.
Okay.
Yeah. So write it down on the calendar, like Sunday. We'll have a
Oh, good
a
on you,
live stream.
Colin.
You can join us. Yeah.
Yeah. And my wife Nikki is so beautiful. Like my wife Nicole is so beautiful. She loves me like she loves me and accepts me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm an atheist. Like I'm an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I wasn't an atheist. I wish I wasn't. I'd love to believe, because I think religious people are happier.
Why do you think that?
Yeah, that's another question of debate.
You've got to hope for the future. You've got to hope for the future, and you're going to see your loved one again, like your dead loved ones again. You're going to see them again, and there's a loving God. And you get community. You get community when you go to church. But sometimes, like now I've become a recluse. Like naturally, I'm going to be recluse. When you become an atheist, you lose a lot of friends and a lot of.
Well, there's
I'm at peace.
There's whole like atheist conventions out there and everything. So I think if you really want a community, I think people have communities anywhere, really.
Yeah.
So
there was a Greek philosopher. Yeah. There was a Greek philosopher called Epicurus, and he was born in 341 BCE, and he died in 270 BCE.
Mm-hmm.
And he died at the age of 71. And he said, death is nothing to us, since when we are dead, death. So he said, death is nothing to us, since when we are dead, death has not come. No, death is nothing to us, since when we are, death has not come, and when death has come, we are not. Epicurus. So we don't get to experience death.
Yeah.
So you don't get to experience death. None of us get to experience it. We experience dying.
Right.
And Jehovah's Witnesses get to experience dying. Catholics, atheists, agnostics, Mormons, we all experience dying.
Everybody, yep.
But no one will experience actually being dead.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. And it's sad. It sucks. It means that, you're going to miss out on nice food, nice music. But we're all in the same boat.
Yeah. Yep. I think at the end of the day, it's just everybody's trying to give an explanation to something that they fear and they don't know,
Yeah, and we still don't know what it is.
Right. And we still don't. Nobody knows, right? That's the bottom line.
Nobody knows. Yeah. So I'm still very agnostic, but I don't think there is anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah.
John was saying if anybody is in the Pennsylvania area, Carnegie, Pennsylvania, this Wednesday, 75-year show, folk, blues, jazz, poets, dancers. Looks like John will be there, so go over and see John. Go have a meet and greet. Meet up with John on this Wednesday in the Carnegie, Pennsylvania area. And John also says, very good advice, stay in the now.
Wow.
Stay in the
now.
Yep. That's the only thing that exists is right now.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yep. So speaking of all of that, and I want to thank you all. A few minutes here, I have to go pick up my stepdaughters from work, so I have to get running as well. So I appreciate all of you being here, and Justin for joining us as well. Stop in more.
Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate that, and let us know later on how the. Well, you'll probably make a video about it too,
Oh,
but let us know how the part
practice.
witnessing went.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually practice at the hall.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, here you go. Look at this, Justin. This is for you. Ah, Justin is one of my favorites. Look at that. You got fans here. That's a good thing.
Thank you.
You got people, Justin. You got people.
I'm glad you like my channel. But Colin and Ellie, they're my favorite channels, you know.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
You know, and Ellie's a Christian too. Ellie's a Christian, and I still love her. And I love my wife. She's a Jehovah's Witness. I love her. And I love Jehovah's Witnesses, but they're just victims.
That's right.
Of mind control.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here with D, Jeff, Justin, John, everybody else that's in the live as well. Thank you for being here, and stay tuned for more videos, and we'll see you in the next ones. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, see ya.
Okay, take care.